Alright, so this tutorial is going to cover this pattern called the toss and take, and it can make, it has the directions to make 3 different sizes, and when you cut out for one of the bag, you can also cut out one of these. It's like a little cord case. If you're making it, if you get a kit from the Quilted Cow, they will provide you with enough fabric so you can either make small, medium, or large. The only things that don't come in your kit are fusible interfacing and fusible fleece. So for the sizes here, this is what the small bag will turn out to be, the medium bag, and the large bag. And there is even a hint that if you are making the bag for a device, you want it to be padded to protect your device from bumps and bruises. They use 2 layers of fusible fleece, and another option is soft and stable. So they do give some good suggestions depending on what you are making this for. So I am making the large size, and I'm using fusible fleece. And I do have an iPad. I'm going to see how it fits it and how it works out. But this is what it is supposed to fit if you make the large size. So in my kit, I got all my fabrics. So I got 4 different fabrics. All the fabrics were the same size, so you can pick and choose what you want to use the fabrics for. So this is my first fabric, which is going to be the inside. Second, which I'm going to use for like the very top of the bag and my little case. I've got all my fleece and interfacing cut out, and I've got the outside main pocket and then the little band that goes in between. So those are the 4 fabrics. Also in the kit, I got my D-ring, the hook, and I got 2 zippers that came along. So now that I've got everything cut, let's get started with putting everything together. Alright, so the pattern does read for the larger size, but if you're making the medium or small, you're just going to have to translate it to the piece that you're working with. So I'm starting with one of my fabric A pieces, which is going to make a top band of the bag, and then one of my fabric B pieces, which is the front bag. This part is going to poke out, and then the pocket I think is going to be here. So I'm just going to sew them together. So I'm going to put right sides together, and then I'm just going to sew using my standard seam allowance. And then when I press my seam open, I'm going to press the seam to the darker fabric, or to fabric A. I'm going to press that seam up. You can press your seams open if you want, but I'm just going to press it up towards the top band. Okay, so I'm going to sew those together. Alright, so that's what that looks like, and there's the back with my seam pressed up. And so we're going to take, you should have a second one just like this, which is right here, and then you should have a small fabric B back band, and we're going to sew those together. So we're just going to put them right sides together, and we're going to sew them, and then when we press the seam, we're going to do it just like that. We're going to press the seam up towards fabric A. So here we go. Okay, so that is what the back of the bag is going to look like so far. And then you're going to find, since I'm making the large, it's easier to find it, but you would just find the corresponding one. This is fabric C, the back bottom one, and I'm going to attach it to finish out the back here, and I'm just going to flip it right sides together like that. I'm going to sew, and then when I press the seam open, I'm just going to press it towards the middle fabric there, so all my seams are going in the right direction. Okay, going to sew that together. Alright, so here is the front one, here is the back one, all pieced together. And now what I'm going to do is I have 2 pieces of fusible fleece. This is if you're putting like an iPad or something, or you can use soft and stable. I'm just using fusible fleece to help give it some padding for your device. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fuse it to the back side of each of these pieces. And if you've never used fusible fleece, on one side it's nice and soft and fuzzy, and the other side it's really bumpy, all right, and rough. That's your glue side, all right. That's the side you definitely don't want touching your iron. You'll be in a world of pain. So you want to make sure the bumpy glue side goes onto the wrong side of your fabric, and this is the nice soft fuzzy side, and you're going to fuse that with heat. You're just going to take it to the iron, and you can do it from this side, or you can do it over on this side. Just line everything up and just give it heat and steam but you know, just put the iron on, leave it for a little bit, and then keep moving it all over slowly, giving it time to steam through and really fuse to each piece. I'm going to do it to that one, and then take that one and fuse it to that panel. Alright, so this is my last fabric C piece. It's going to make the pocket that's going to go on this piece. The pocket's going to go there. This will peek out. So right now I have it right side down, and this is fusible interfacing. I'm just using Shape Flex. If you want to use medium or something firmer, or even fusible fleece, go ahead and do that. But you're only adhering it or fusing it to half of this piece, because this is going to fold down and it's going to create the pocket. So again, it's only going to fuse to half. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to the iron, and again, one side is nice and smooth, and the gluey side is rough and bumpy, and that should be face down on the wrong side of your fabric. So I'll go take care of this. So after I fused it on, I just folded down the top and gave it a good press. Okay, so you got just the top, it's folded down, wrong sides together. Now this part, this is the fold, of course, this is where it opens up. This part is totally optional, and I just followed the directions. You could do one top stitch. The person who made the pattern said they do double, so I just did a double. I did maybe, I don't know, about an eighth, and then I did a 1/4 inch down from that. Or you could just use a decorative stitch and use a pretty decorative stitch all the way across, or you don't have to do a top stitch at all. Totally optional for you. So this was step 6, and now we're moving on to step 7. Alright, so I have just taken that one panel piece that makes the front, that just had the two you sewed together. That one's the back. And this is my pocket piece, and I've just laid it on top, my top stitching at the top, and all my raw edges match up. And I've just clipped it into place, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and I'm going to stitch about 1/8 of an inch all the way around the pocket, and that's going to help base the pocket to this panel piece here. Alright, so you can totally leave this as one long pocket, or you can choose to divide it into smaller pockets. I decided to divide it into 2 pockets, so I have a little bit of a longer pocket, and then here I just sewed, and I measured it to what I want. This is totally customizable to what you want. The pattern in step 7 does give some optional hints for you to read through, but I just decided to measure to here, from here, and just sew that line. So now I've got the smaller pocket here, and I've got the larger pocket here. So now we're going to move on to zipper insertion, step number 1. Alright, so you have 4 of these, but you're just going to take 2 of them, and they're going to go on the ends of your zipper here. And so, let me just grab another one. So this is what it would look like, and then you're going to fold it in half, short side to short side. You're going to press it, and then you're going to open it up, and once you press that, it's going to give you your center line, and then you're going to fold in both of your sides to the center and press that, and then you're going to fold it in half again and press that, okay? And that'll create your zipper end. So on your zipper here, this is, it's to stop the zipper from going off, but when you're sewing these on the end, you need to get rid of it because this is too wide and it gets in the way when you're sewing. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your rotary cutter or scissors, and you're just going to cut right next to it. Like, you don't want to cut far away, you just want to cut right next to it, because then this is going to go over that raw end and be your zipper stop. So I'm going to take my rotary cutter and just trim this metal piece off, just right next to it, right here on this side, not this side because we're cutting it off. Alright, so this is the end where I did the trimming of that stop off, and all I did was open this up, and I tried to center the zipper in it, and I slid it all the way in so the end is right there on the fold. Like, if you feel it, the end goes all the way there. And then I just top stitched across, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to trim up my fabric with my zipper so I don't have any hangover on either side. Alright, so this is the large zipper. I have the smaller zipper for the smaller case. We sewed the end, and so what we've done now is I've measured from the end of here, and this is step 3 under zipper. They have a really great diagram, and they have the different measurements for the different size of bags, but since I'm doing the large, I just followed the regular. I measured from the end here down according to what they wanted me to measure, and I made a mark, okay, because we're going to trim this zipper to fit the size of our bag. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to leave your zipper pull here, because if you trim this off and you didn't pull your zipper back, well, now you've got to figure out how to put that back on your zipper tape. So you want to move this back so that it's beyond where you're trimming, and then you're going to take your ruler and rotary cutter, scissors, whatever you got, and trim it up there on that line that you marked for the measurement of whatever bag that you are making. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and attach this second one just like you did the first one. So I used, when it was open, right, I used a little fabric glue on both ends and then stuck that in, because when the zipper's open like that, it's harder to keep in place. So I just have a fabric glue stick here, and I just put a little bit of glue on either side, put my zipper ends in all the way to the folds, and folded it down and just gave it a few seconds for the glue to work, and then I was able to press it and it held in place beautifully. So there is the first zipper. Alright, so next step is to get your inside piece, which is the only one you cut from the fourth fabric, whatever you're using for the inside. And you are going to, if you can see it here, center that zipper piece. It's not going to reach to each end, but it should be centered, so you should have about the same amount of space on each side. And I just used my glue stick again, and I put a little strip of glue down to help hold this in place. And your zipper should be, this fabric should be right side up, and your zipper should be right side up. And I guess you decide whether you want your zipper pull here or on the other end, but I just put it here because with my right-handed, so I think being right-handed, it'll open more naturally. Okay, so next thing you're going to do is you're going to find the piece that is, no, that's my front. It looks very similar to this now, but there's no pocket. The back, and you are going to, this is the top, you're going to lay that right side down, and you're going to line up everything. And a zipper foot can be helpful here. If you don't have a zipper foot, then just work with what you have. But I would start with a zipper. I'm going to pull that down, because how this works is when I start sewing, this is bulky and it kind of gets in the way. So when I get up to this bulky part, I keep my needle down and I lift my presser foot up, and I just manipulate the fabric and the zipper, and then I'll pull the zipper from wherever it is past my sewing foot, and then I will put my presser foot back down, and I will keep sewing the rest of the way. I'll try to show you as I'm sewing. So I'm just using my 1/4 inch foot, and I've started sewing, and I've come up to my zipper head. So there's no way that this is going to be able to stay straight where I need it to be with the bulk of that. So I have my needle down, and I just lift that up. And let's see if I can do this one-handed. And sometimes I turn this, and I just, hopefully this works, and I just manipulate. See, I just manipulate it, I turn it, get it up, and I've moved the zipper back. So now I can readjust this, realign everything else, and then I'm going to put this down, and then I'm just going to keep on sewing. Sorry if that was a whirlwind of I'm doing this one-handed, but hopefully that helped a little bit more. If not, I apologize for the whirlwind. That was my recording right there. All right, I'm going to finish here. All right, so now that that's sewn, you can open it up to the front, and if you want to, you can even take it to the iron and press it, but this seam right here should lay under, like it should be there, and you should open that up. And if you need to iron it to help hold everything in place, you can. Make sure that this fabric isn't getting caught and it's taut. And then you're just going to top stitch about 1/8 of an inch all the way down from the zipper, from this seam right next to the zipper out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so now you're going to take, this is the outside, this is the one with the pockets, and you're gonna lay that down right side up. And then you're gonna take this guy that you just sewed, and this is the back side, and there's the zipper, and you are gonna lay this with right side to right side. So just gonna lay that down, and again you're gonna try to center it. It's not gonna meet, but you want to make sure you have the same amount of space on this side as you do this side. So I will fix it when I'm done here. All right, and if you want to use a little bit of glue you can, or pins, but before you do that you want to take this and you want to fold it up, and you want to meet all those raw edges meet together. Okay, now this is not going to line up. That's totally okay. Okay, this does not have to line up. So when you do that, then you're going to flip it over, and mine's not lined up. I'll do it, and then you're going to stitch 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down, doing the same thing. And so here, when I flip it, my zipper is right side up. So I'm gonna move that zipper down to the middle and then start sewing, and when I get there I'll be able to move the zipper back so I can keep sewing all the way down. All right, let's attach. All right, so that's what it looks like, and there's the inside. It's all folded up, and now you're gonna open this up, and this you want to lay this way. So as you open it up, okay, and you're gonna do the same thing, and the inside is gonna stay away from the zipper. Make sure it's pulled taut. You don't want it to get it bunched up into there. And you're going to top stitch on this side of the zipper now, just like you did here. Okay, so the next part you want is your D-ring, and this is your D-ring piece, and what I did was just folded it in half like that, pressed it to find the center line. I opened it and folded each of my raw edges into the center and pressed, and then I folded it in half. And I'm going to take it to the machine and I'm going to top stitch down both of the long sides, and then I'm going to loop it through that. Alright, so I've done my top stitching. I did that, and I just wrapped it around, folded it in half, and you could tuck it on that end too, but the pattern says to tuck it near the beginning of the zipper a little bit down, so that's where I did. And then I'm going to take the right side of my bags, and I'm just going to fold it together there, okay? And then I'm going to match up the raw edges here, and I'm just going to clip everything together, especially on this side. This side is already folded, but I'm just going to put some clips in place just to keep it there. And then I'm going to mark an opening right here. Probably want to make sure your zipper is open, because if we're turning it inside out there, you want to don't make the mistake of having that closed. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and line everything up and just clip everything in place. And then we're going to leave the opening here, and then I think we're going to sew all the way around it. Alright, so here it is all clipped, everything lined up, and I have marked my opening out. So I always like to mark my openings. If I don't, I forget to leave an opening, and I just sew over everything, and then I have to end up ripping things out. So I like to mark my openings. Okay, I'm gonna start here. Back tack really well, because you're turning it inside here. If you don't back tack, your stitching is just gonna come apart. So make sure you back tack, and you're just gonna pivot and go all the way around. And when you get back to here, you're gonna make sure you back tack really well too. So word of advice, you do not, I just started there and stitched down the side. You don't sew across the bottom because it's not open, it is closed. So just sew from your opening to the end, back tack, and then skip over to the other side, and then continue sewing all the way around till you come back to your, not there, right there, opening. So it is sewed, and I just went and I clipped the corners. It creates less bulk in them when you turn them inside out. And now I'm going to turn everything inside out through my lining opening, and then I'm going to push out all my corners. So corners are poked out, and poked out up here as well. And now this, I could have changed my thread to match this. I have a soft pink, but I didn't. I just used the yellow I've been using. You can hand stitch this closed with different types of stitches, or you could just machine stitch it closed if you don't mind seeing that. So now I'm just going to push the lining into my bag. So here's what it looks like. Here's my pocket on the outside. There's the back of it, and then the zipper, and you can open it up. I can't really open it up. Hold on. There we go. Open it up and you got your inside. So again, this was the large size. Turned out really nice. Let's take my pocket. Pocket is here. Alright, now the next part is to, if you want to, you can make the little cord case, which is here, which clips onto this one at the end to keep things together. Alright, so now that the bag is done, we're going to make the cord case. And so we've got the two outside pieces. This is going to be my inside, and I've got the zipper tabs here, and this is going to make, I think, let's see, I think it's probably going to make this part right here to go on. Alright, and this is like supposed to be able to like keep your charging cord in there. It's supposed to be big enough, so let's get started. So the first thing I did was I went ahead and fused the interfacing to both the outside pieces. It's already fused on, and to my inside piece. So that was the first step that I did. So go ahead and fuse those to all three of these pieces. So a lot of this is the same process as you did for your other bag. So these are the zipper covers, and it's the same process as making them. Fold them in half, find the center line, open it up, fold the raw edges in, press, and then fold over, which are going to cover the ends of the zippers. And with this, it's the same thing. Fold in half, find the center line, fold the raw edges into the center, press, and then fold in half. And with these, I'm just going to top stitch down on either side. And with these, I'm going to end up covering my zipper, but just like with the other one, I'm going to cut. This is that metal part that stops, but that's is too bulky, and so I'm just going to trim right on the side of the zipper and cut this metal part off and the rest of it. Alright, so I got one covered, and remember to pull back your zipper, and then you're going to look on page 6 under the diagram at the top there, and it will tell you the length that you're cutting your zipper from the end of this tab or the beginning of this tab out. And so I've already trimmed my zipper, and now I'm going to attach this one with the help of my glue stick. I'm just going to put some glue here, and then put that in, and it will help hold everything in place, and then I'm going to top stitch down. Alright, so now we're going to start attaching everything, and I've gone back to page 6, and I'm starting on step 5, and it's just the instructions that we followed, the same as for this one, to attach everything. So I've got my inside piece, right side up, I've got my zipper, there's going to be a little bit on each side, but try to center it, and then I'm going to take one of my outside pieces, and I'm just going to lay that right side down over it, and then I'm going to clip in a few places, and then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch down to connect that, and then we'll connect the other piece. Alright, once that was sewn on, I just opened this panel was like that, and I just opened it, making sure the seam was to this direction as well, and then I just top stitched down away from the zipper. So now we're going to connect the other panel piece. So now we're going to take the other piece, lay it down, but it's right side up, and then we're going to take our zipper here, and we're going to lay it down, so right sides are together, and we're going to center that. When I'm done, I will center that, making sure there's the same amount of space on either side, and then we're just going to take this end and fold it up there, and once I align everything and clip everything in place, I will sew that with a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down, and this does not need to match up. It shouldn't match up. Okay, alright. Alright, so when you do that, it's going to look all like that, and oh, I gotta clip those, I forgot to clip those. And then you're going to take this and open it, and you want to make sure that the seam there is laying right under it, nice and flat. You can press it if need be. You want to make sure your pocket is away from it, and you are going to top stitch down on the other side. So that's what it should look like right now. Alright, and then you're just going to take this part here and put it through the swivel hook part and line up the raw ends, and then you're going to place it. Now you can do it on this side too, but I'm going to place it close to the zipper end, just a little bit down, and that's where it's going to go. Now you can base stitch this, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to clip that into place for right now. So after you do that, you just take this one, which was laying over here on top, and you just take it and you fold it over onto the other part. Alright, so and line everything up, and then you're going to clip, and on one side, let's see, I'll probably just do it right here. Going to leave me a little bit of an opening, and so once I clip this part, this is what I'm going to start sewing. Now you don't need to sew down here just like the big bag because this is folded, it's not a raw edge. So I'm going to start sewing here, back tack all the way down, back tack, then I'm going to come over here and back tack, and then I'm just going to sew all the way down and around till I get to here and back tack. And what you want to do is, which I have not done, is you need to open this zipper up, because this is, if you don't have the zipper open, you're not going to be able to turn it inside out. So I'm going to open that zipper at first and then finish clipping and then sew all the way around. Alright, so once you've sewn it, you're going to turn it inside out. I had a little bit of a rough time because I didn't quite leave myself a big enough gap, but I made it. At this point, just like the big bag, you can either hand stitch it or just top stitch it closed. And then you're just going to tuck this lining into the exterior, which is what I'm going to do right now. Alright, and there it is. It's got this part here. It went inside and out. You've got the zipper that can close nicely. And you can give this a good press. It does get a little bit wrinkly there. But you can take this, and here's the main bag, and you can attach it onto there, so it just holds everything together nicely. And there we go. There is the toss and take bag. I don't know if that other angle gave you a really good view, but there it is, all clipped on together, the two, and there we go. It's cute. So this one had the pockets there. I might go get my iPad and the case and see if it carries both. But anyway, again, this was the large size. This is just a one-fit-all case, and to put it together, you're basically following the same steps, except you don't have all these pieces. It's just main panel. But enjoy and happy sewing!